In just 3 days of trading, SpaceX did something no company has ever done this fast. It blew past Amazon. It blew past Microsoft. And it hit a staggering $2.8 trillion. That's trillion with a T. Elon Musk's rocket company is now closing in on the most valuable businesses on planet Earth, and Wall Street is genuinely stunned. Let me put that number in perspective. $2.8 trillion is more than the entire economy of France. It's bigger than Amazon, the company that reshaped how the world shops. It's bigger than Microsoft, the software giant that's been around for 50 years. And SpaceX pulled it off in 72 hours of trading. How is that even possible? The story starts on a Monday morning in June 2026. SpaceX finally went public after years of speculation. The IPO was the most anticipated debut in recent memory. Everyone wanted a piece. Retail investors, hedge funds, day traders, even people who'd never bought a stock in their lives. The demand was absolutely insane from the very first second. On day one, the stock spiked 20%. 20%. That alone added hundreds of billions in market value before lunch. Then it kept climbing. The next morning, it gained another 8% in pre-market trading before the bell even rang. Traders watched their screens light up green, refreshing every few seconds, barely believing what they were seeing. By the end of day two, SpaceX had leapfrogged some of the biggest names in tech. Day three, it crushed Amazon. Day four, it overtook them entirely in market cap. Each session brought new records. The headlines couldn't keep up. Forbes, CNBC, Business Insider, all scrambling to update their numbers as SpaceX kept rocketing higher. So what's actually driving this? In one word, retail. Everyday investors are racing to buy shares of SpaceX like it's the last ticket out of town. NBC News reported a buying frenzy unlike anything seen in years. People aren't analyzing balance sheets. They're buying a dream. The dream of owning a piece of the company taking humanity to Mars. And that's the surprising part. SpaceX isn't trading on fundamentals right now. It's trading on belief. Elon Musk has built one of the most powerful brands on Earth. When his name is attached to a stock, millions of people want in. The Tesla effect, the meme stock energy, the hype machine, all of it firing at once. Let's talk about what SpaceX actually does, because the business is genuinely impressive. It launches more rockets than any other company in history. Its Starlink satellite network beams internet to millions of customers in remote corners of the globe. It carries NASA astronauts to the space station. Its reusable rockets change the entire economics of spaceflight forever. Starlink alone is a monster business. It now serves customers across more than 100 countries. Subscriptions, hardware, government contracts, military deals. The revenue is real and it's growing fast. For the first time, SpaceX is showing investors that it's not just a science project. It's a machine that can actually print serious cash. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. At $2.8 trillion, SpaceX is valued like it's already conquered the solar system. The price assumes near perfection. It assumes Starlink dominates global internet. It assumes Mars colonization pays off. It assumes nothing ever goes wrong. That's a lot of assuming for a company this young. Compared to Amazon. Amazon spent nearly 30 years building its empire. Warehouses, cloud computing, logistics, a sprawling retail kingdom that touches almost every American household. It earned its trillion-dollar status the slow, brutal way. SpaceX just matched and passed it in a single week. That gap between time and value is what's making seasoned investors nervous. And Microsoft? 5 decades of dominance. Windows on nearly every computer. Office in nearly every business. Azure powering the cloud. Now a massive bet on artificial intelligence. Microsoft is a fortress of profit, generating tens of billions every quarter. For SpaceX to pass it in days raises a giant question. Is this real or is it mania? Wall Street veterans are split right down the middle. Some say SpaceX is the future and the market is finally pricing in its limitless potential. Others are quietly whispering one word that haunts every investor. Bubble. They've seen this movie before. Sky-high valuations, retail mania, everyone convinced it can only go up. We all know how those stories tend to end. There's also the elephant in the room. SpaceX, is famously cash-hungry. It burns through enormous amounts of money developing rockets like Starship. Last year, reports suggested it lost billions even while pulling in record revenue. That's normal for a moonshot company. But when you're valued at nearly $3 trillion, investors eventually demand profits, not just promises. Now here's where it gets really interesting. SpaceX options are about to start trading. That means traders can place bets on whether the stock goes up or down. Options bring leverage. Leverage brings volatility. And volatility in a stock this hot could mean wild swings in both directions. Buckle up because this ride is about to get a lot crazier. The SpaceX surge isn't happening in a vacuum either. The entire stock market is on fire right now. The Dow just hit a brand new record. The S&P 500 is climbing. Why? A surprise peace deal between the United States and Iran just removed a massive cloud of geopolitical fear hanging over the world. That Iran deal sent oil prices tumbling back down toward $80 a barrel. Lower oil means lower costs for businesses and consumers. It calms inflation fears. It eases pressure on the Federal Reserve. Suddenly, the whole market got a giant green light, and money came pouring back into stocks, especially the high-flying tech names everyone loves. So, SpaceX caught the perfect wave. A blockbuster IPO landing right as fear evaporated from a market and optimism took over. Timing in the stock market is everything. SpaceX hit the public markets at the exact moment investors were hungry for the next big story. And boy, did they get one. Now, the big question on everyone's mind. At what share price does SpaceX become the single most valuable company on the entire planet? It already passed Amazon and Microsoft. Next in its sights are Apple and Nvidia, the reigning giants worth around $4 trillion each. SpaceX is closing the gap faster than anyone predicted. Think about that for a moment. A company that launches rockets could soon be worth more than Apple, more than Nvidia, more than any business in human history. Elon Musk, already the richest person alive, could see his net worth explode in a territory we don't even have good words for. We're talking trillionaire territory. But let's not get carried away just yet. The Motley Fool recently pointed out that the overall market just crossed a valuation threshold it's only crossed once in 150 years. That's a flashing warning sign. When stocks get this expensive, history says caution is wise. And SpaceX sits right at the center of the frenzy. There's a fascinating split happening underneath the surface, too. Analysts say a handful of giant winners are carrying the entire market on their backs. SpaceX, Nvidia, the AI darlings. This concentration protects the market from a dot-com style collapse, according to some experts. But it also means everything depends on these few names staying strong. If SpaceX stumbles, if Starship blows up on a test flight, if Starlink growth slows, if profits don't materialize, the fall could be brutal. A stock that climbs this fast can fall just as fast. Gravity always wins eventually. The question is whether SpaceX has the rocket fuel to keep defying it for years to come. Meanwhile, some of the smartest investors are quietly making moves. Cathie Wood, the famous tech investor, has been cleaning house with heavy sales. Other veteran analysts are doubling down with bold predictions for 2026. The disagreement among experts is enormous. Nobody truly knows where this ends, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes it so thrilling to watch. And don't forget who's getting richer in all of this. A new report shows the surging stock market is dramatically boosting the wealth of the top 1%. The richest Americans own the most stock, so when markets rocket, their fortunes balloon. SpaceX is making the already wealthy even wealthier at a breathtaking pace. But the SpaceX story is also a story about regular people swinging for the fences. Retail investors are pouring their savings into this stock, hoping to ride it to riches. Some will win big. Some will get burned. That's the gamble. When a stock goes vertical, the line between genius and disaster gets razor thin. Here's something most people miss. SpaceX going public actually reshapes the entire stock market. When a company this size joins the indexes, it changes what's inside funds that millions of Americans own in their retirement accounts. So even if you never bought a single SpaceX share, you might already own a piece through your 401k. That's the wild part of this whole saga. SpaceX is no longer just Elon Musk's private rocket company. It now belongs to the public markets, woven into the financial fabric of the country. Its success or failure ripples out to ordinary investors everywhere. The stakes just got dramatically bigger for everyone. Critics argue the valuation makes zero sense. Supporters argue you simply can't value a company that might dominate space, internet, and transportation all at once. Both sides have a point. SpaceX isn't a normal company, so maybe normal valuation rules don't apply. Or maybe that's exactly the kind of thinking that creates a historic bubble. Even the Washington Post weighed in, saying the SpaceX IPO has a bright side. It funnels enormous capital into ambitious technology. Win or lose, that money pushes humanity forward. Rockets get built, satellites launch, dreams get funded. There's something genuinely inspiring about millions of people betting on the future of space exploration all at once. So where does this go from here? 3 scenarios. 1. SpaceX keeps climbing and becomes the world's most valuable company, crowning Musk a trillionaire. 2. It cools off and settles into a more reasonable valuation over time. 3. The bubble pops and takes a chunk of the market down with it. Nobody knows which. What we do know is this. We are watching financial history unfold in real time. A company went from private rocket maker to nearly $3 trillion in days, passing Amazon and Microsoft along the way. Whether this is the smartest investment of the decade or the wildest bubble in years, it's absolutely unforgettable. My take: stay curious, stay skeptical, and never bet money you can't afford to lose. SpaceX might genuinely be the future, but valuations this extreme always carry enormous risk. The retail frenzy could keep pushing it higher, or it could reverse in a flash. Either way, the next few weeks will be absolutely fascinating to watch unfold. Imagine telling someone 5 years ago that a rocket company would be worth more than Amazon. They have laughed. Yet here we are. That's the power of vision, hype, and perfect timing colliding all at once. SpaceX has rewritten what's possible on Wall Street, and the story is far from over. So what do you think? Is SpaceX the most valuable company of the future, or the biggest bubble of 2026? Drop your prediction in the comments below. And if you want more wild money stories like this one, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. This is Money Stories, where the biggest numbers meet the wildest tales. See you next time.